So lately, I'm back in the routine of waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I feel like we are meant to wake up early in the summer. The darker, colder air in the morning feels so nice to breathe. And for me, those early morning hours of stillness and quiet are just such an important time to set my intentions for the day and to really be more intentional about my day. In the winter, I find it very difficult to get out of bed when it's so cold out. But these days, it honestly just feels so effortless. Of course, the first thing I do in the morning is make a coffee, and while I'm waiting for that to brew, I like to go down to the river and wash my face. The freezing glacier water is so good at waking me up almost instantly. It kind of just like shocks my system. It's a little ritual I've had this spring. And then after I drink my coffee, the first thing I do is deal with my sourdough starter. I usually make about 1 loaf of sourdough bread per day. There's a lot of people here on the property these days. We are getting ready for a wedding, so the bread gets eaten very quickly. Honestly, I feel like I could even make 2 loaves a day and it would get eaten. This morning, I am making a cinnamon raisin walnut bread. I've been wanting to make this for a while. This type of bread really reminds me of my childhood. Also, while I drink my coffee, I like to write down all the things I need to do that day. There's so many chores and things to get done these days, and it's helpful for me to write it all down, and it makes it a lot less overwhelming. The way I make sourdough is I'll just knead it periodically throughout the course of a couple hours, so I'll just do that whenever I have the time. I'm also soaking some raisins and nuts that I will add to the dough later. So every evening I soak my kitchen towels overnight. I don't use disposable paper towels at all, but I find that my kitchen towels get dirty very, very quickly. In my opinion, running them through a full wash cycle every day is pretty unnecessary. So at night, I'll just soak them in hot soapy water, and then early in the morning, I will hang them to dry. And then usually by the afternoon, they are ready to use. Every once in a while, I will deep clean them. I just find this method the easiest way to keep them semi-clean and ready to use. We have an automatic sprinkler system that me and my dad put in a couple of years ago, but this winter some of the pipes froze and burst. So while we're working on fixing that, I'm just hand watering everything in the garden. I think me and Logan are gonna fix it actually maybe tomorrow. We just picked up all the stuff to do it, but for now, this has been working pretty well. Okay, I want to talk about this river. It is seriously raging these days. I cannot believe how much water is coming down this river. I think it's because we had a lot of snow this winter, and then this spring it got very, very hot very quickly, and it's causing this mass snow melt in the mountains. So there's been a lot of flooding happening around the area. So I went out on a walk into the mountains this morning in search of this specific medicinal plant I've been reading a lot about. Actually, I'm looking for the root of the plant, but anyways, I was unsuccessful in finding it. This happens to me a lot, actually. I'll go foraging for something and be completely unsuccessful, but that's okay. I feel like that's just part of the process of foraging. And I did find this wild lilac plant, so that was really nice. The smell of lilac is probably my favorite smell ever. The colors of spring have been so vibrant and beautiful here. The deciduous trees got their leaves a couple weeks ago, I think, and the wildflowers are blooming and everything just feels really precious. In just a matter of weeks, the dry season is coming, and I feel like we are in for a hot summer this year because of how hot it already is, and it's only May. Spring is definitely my favorite season, and I wish it would last forever. But I guess if it did, I wouldn't appreciate it as much. I feel like the absence of things makes us appreciate everything so much more. These days, I feel so grateful for my life. And I think it's because the remodel was such a stressful time. And now that we're done, I have just been appreciating every small moment throughout my days so much. So I've been trying to spend a little time every morning burning the old dead wood that is laying around the forest. This helps a lot with forest fire prevention, and also it just makes the forest look a lot nicer. This is definitely my least favorite job that I do here on the farm. I am so tired of it. After 3 years, I still feel like I have made 0 progress. This morning, there was some pretty big fallen trees that were just too big to throw on the pile to burn, so I got the chainsaw out and obviously changed out of my dress, and I just cut them into smaller chunks in order to safely put them on the fire. These big trees I sometimes will save and use as firewood to heat with, but most often when I cut into them, they are already starting to rot and decompose. And if that's the case, you can't really heat your home with rotting wood, so I'll just burn them up in the fire. This land has been previously abandoned for so many years, I think like over 100 years, and the amount of dead wood around is pretty unmanageable. It feels like it would take a lifetime to clean up. Maybe that's why I don't like doing this job, because it feels really overwhelming and it's just hard to see the progress day to day when there's just still so much to do. It's also really labor intensive and exhausting, so I try to break it up and just do a little bit every day. I have a loaf of bread that has been proofing overnight in the fridge, so now it's about ready to go in the oven. Basically, I'll just flip it upside down, take it out of its bowl, and then score the top of it, and place it in my Dutch oven and bake it for about 50 minutes to an hour. Okay, so it's about 10 a.m. and I still have some coffee left in the pot from this morning. Lately, I've been making these sweetened lattes. I never used to like sweet coffee, but for some reason, I've really been loving adding a little cream and maple syrup to my coffee. And I took a little break to read. I just finished my book last night, so I'm starting a new one. My raisin bread is just about ready to be shaped and put into the oven. I made a filling for it out of sugar, cinnamon, and butter. Everyone has a different method of shaping bread, I feel like. It works best for me to stretch it out onto a very floured surface. Sourdough bread is pretty sticky, so having a lot of flour is helpful for me. For this bread, I'm putting an even layer of filling on the entire dough, and then I fold it twice and then kind of roll it up into a ball. As you can see, it was kind of sticky and hard to do, but after this, you can create a little tension in your loaf by kind of pushing and pulling it. I did guess on the measurement of flour and water in this bread, and I feel like it was a little wetter than normal, so it made it kind of hard to handle. But oh my gosh, the final product was seriously so good. I'm definitely going to make this recipe more. Logan absolutely loved this bread. Last night at 2 a.m., he ate like half of the loaf. And it was the perfect thing to eat in the morning. The swirls of cinnamon sugar throughout it was so good. I have been getting over a cold and was feeling pretty tired this afternoon, so I spent some time reading, and I even got in the raging river. It was kind of scary, but I'm trying to do this every day to boost my immune system. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this little morning routine video. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of narration, storytelling style of video. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. I hope you have a beautiful week. Okay, bye-bye.